We are now recording.
In other words, mute.
Yes. Or if you've got a manifesto you want to read, now's your chance.
I'm responding back to that Wistar Heart also on that, just giving a little explanation as to what happened.
Yes.
So give me a couple minutes to
When
come
you
back.
get through, you can kick the meeting off.
Okay, let me get this. I'll get this message out real quick and then.
Okay. Oh, you're getting a lovely assistant. Oh yeah, let me refresh it.
In my instructions, there was something you had to click that allows people to vote
Yes.
and submit.
It's right here. If you look at this under responses, it says accepting responses, and if you turn it off,
Okay.
I probably screwed everybody up. Okay, no. I hope I didn't screw you guys up. I just clicked on the form. Should be good. Let me double check.
Do I have to log into monitoring something
No, you should.
computer?
No, why would you do that?
I'm okay.
Oh, if you want to watch, yes, you could have, you would have to do that. Okay, no, we're still good. We're still. If you want to see the images, yes, you'll have to log in. Let me get you set up for that. Actually, I'm gonna do it this side. That's your computer.
You know if Chuck will have a chance to get online or?
He was sitting in traffic cursing me. I hung up because he was very abusive. No, he's still stuck in traffic. So he will be on eventually.
There's another person wanting to get in.
You hit the admit button?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I think if he's gone, then Michael already did it probably.
Tony.
Yes, sir.
What are you doing?
Trying to figure this damn thing out. Trying to get the link for the QR code.
LoneTreePhotoClub.com/vote.
That's it.
Yep.
It's in the chat. It's in the chat, Tony.
Yeah.
For some
John,
reason, I can't select the whole thing in chat, so
But you could type it from there at least.
I can. If I figure out how to use a keyboard. These these computer thingies are kind of difficult for some of us old folks.
I can't remember if I asked this question before, but is there some does our club have like a community buy, swap, and sell little thing where we can put things for sale or things we're looking for, or see if other people might have them or want them?
We do not at this time, but it's been brought up enough.
Okay.
The issue comes down to working with not an issue, but seeing what Kathy can do for us, Chuck's wife, because she runs that kind of stuff. So we'd have
Do
to,
that on the Facebook page.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got quite a few things I'd like to sell.
I'll put a thing up on the Facebook page and also on the Instagram page, because stories, so let me see here. The stories on our Instagram page, get quite a few views. And even though we only have 321 followers, we get a lot of views from people that aren't following or that aren't actually following the club. So there could be that could be a good spot to put things as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and actually, Darren, anything that you put in reels and or stories does
fine.
get more views anyway,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
outside of our followers. So yeah, depends how you hashtag it too.
I'll hashtag it right to the moon.
I'm almost done with my message here and then I'll
That's fine.
get ready to go. This is also giving a few more people to a chance to get online on their way back or whatever and so forth and that. So hopefully we'll get it started here in a few minutes.
And I'll try to monitor the email and stuff. But I guess I need to put Facebook up there so I can monitor that too. I'm old school. I don't think about that.
You're on the Facebook page too, Bruce?
I am not currently on it, but I should be on it. I don't think I have access like they have access.
Oh,
I have a hard time spelling Photoshop and Facebook, so
it's photo book,
photo book.
face shop and photo book.
MySpace, that's what I remember. Or was that what it was? I didn't. That dates you. I've been banned from Snapchat by my nephew, so. I'm not gonna do
Go
that.
back to AOL chat rooms.
Say that like it's a bad thing.
Where do you see if somebody's trying to get on?
It'll pop.
Does anybody remember ICQ?
up. ICQ, no, I don't remember that one.
Yeah. Oh, God. That was old.
I do remember dial-up modems, so
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Hayes Smart Comms.
smart what?
Hayes Smart Com. 300, 1200.
Yeah. Like, oh, I can download this book in 3 days.
Elaine, real quick, did you provide this Wistar Hart with that? Did you send her that email?
I did.
Okay, I'm wrapping up my comments with her, but I'll let her know that I understand that she's received that email and if it's back, she can catch, part of the meeting or whatever that. And I'll also let her know that it's being recorded.
It came from me directly. It didn't come from the Lone Tree
Okay, perfect. Okay.
group. Yeah, because I just pulled it up in my box and I just CC'd it to the 3 people.
Okay,
Who,
all right.
who were not on the.
Great. Okay, I'm finishing up my.
Reminds me, I need to go back and add them to the actual contact list. Dang it. So many different moving parts.
Trying to spring one. Everybody that's out there, the audio is good.
Yes.
Right. I'm not monitoring it tonight, but it shouldn't be difficult because I'm on it with you guys. Are you in there? Okay, here we go. I can always do this. Oh, I can't.
Do you know if Rand or Steven submitted photos?
I don't believe so. I can look real quick and see. I don't think so. No. They did no. I have the secret list here, but you can't see it.
I didn't submit any photos this month.
Wait, I see you on here, Darren.
No, take me
Oh,
off.
Kevin. Oh, this is a great one. 25.
Okay, So Bruce, I went ahead and just sent that message to Wistar. And Darren will probably see it, but I sent it again through that Facebook page. So
Okay.
notes.
Are you ready to start then, young man?
Sure. I
All
think
right.
so.
Let her roll. We're recording.
Okay. Okay. Hey, thank you everybody for joining here tonight. Again, it's a Zoom only meeting tonight. We apologize for the miscommunications and the misunderstandings in that earlier. We knew several months ago in that we had one night we did not have access to the meeting room over at the Civic Center. It happens to be tonight, but that sort of slipped through the cracks, and we just realized that at about 5:30 tonight. So I think many of you got, myself included, late email notification of the change to go Zoom only. And once again, apologize for the inconvenience that I know that caused a lot of people who were either on their way or made it to the Civic Center only to learn that it was a Zoom only call. Looks like we have a lot of those people who have made that round trip back to their homes. So thank you once again for joining, as well as those who otherwise were just going to be joining us here tonight. Tonight we have our image competition. This is our final image competition of the year. Again, this one is Zoom only, and the category is open. So again, we have, I'm sure we'll see many entries in all various sorts of genres. And the judge tonight is Darren White. Darren leads, I'll say he's been a member of Lone Tree Photo Club for, I want to say, probably at least 8-9 years. And the first, I think, 4 years of those, he was the club's the award-winning photographer of the year, in that for 4 consecutive years. And I know myself and many of us have learned quite a bit from him, either through attending his workshops or just some of the comments in that he brings to the meetings themselves. Again, as I mentioned, workshops, he does workshops out in various parts of Utah and then Oregon coast. He's done a couple of those recently. And many of us have been very fortunate to have attended those. One thing I wanted to bring up real quickly is that it came up here this last couple of weeks in that there was a member who was questioning. We had a couple of rule changes in that are coming into effect for next year on our image competitions. One of those has to do with making sure that the components of the image are I'll say images that the maker has taken themselves. And that, one of the questions that came up was with regards to sky replacements. And I know, in the past, there's been, many images, and sky replacements are still allowed. The only issue is that they have to be sky replacements that the maker has taken, as opposed to, say, some of those ones that are the ones that are out on, I'm just use Photoshop as the example. They have their the skies that they have in their system that you can use as replacements when you're creating images or looking to swap out skies. But our rule specifically does require that those sky replacements be images that the maker has taken themselves. And part of the reason for that is, when we thought about it, sometimes, let's say for night photography or something like that, a Milky Way or Northern Lights or something like that is such a dominant and a very strong part of that overall image. And in the spirit of fairness, we just want to make sure that somebody doesn't swap out and take some miraculous Milky Way shot that somebody else has shot, make that or bring that into their own image and have that be such a big key part of the scene. So again, that was part of the reason. But I wanted to clarify that just because it's something that came up here over the last couple of weeks. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and just, let's see here, go through a couple of the other, there you go. Bruce is bringing up some of the rules that are out there. And again, those are out on the website. So anybody has any questions on that with regards to the competition rules, those are out there. And again, occasionally those might get adjusted a little bit for specific themes, but for the most part, the open competitions and most of the competitions, all of those rules that are in there will be applicable. Other things that we have coming up on November 15th, so 2 weeks from tonight, the Wednesday, we will have a presentation night with Darren White. That one will be both in person at the Civic Center, and we will also have the Zoom option. Darren's going to be presenting on shooting techniques in the field and how to put them together back home. So, part of that will be talking about how to capture those images while you're out in the field. I know he plans on covering things like photo stacking, some of the things that he does with some of his night photography, both as far as he captures those with multiple images, and then also how he does some of the stacking of his night images, and many other things that, again, Darren has a lot of great experience in that when it comes to both taking the images and then what he does with them in the post processing. So again, that one will be Wednesday, November 15th, 2 weeks from tonight. Final meeting of the year is December 6th. That one will be our awards dinner and board elections. Also at that one, we will have food. I believe, Bruce, that's Chick-fil-A this year. We kind of changed that around to that, but we'll have main entrees that will consist of menu items from Chick-fil-A, and then other members will be bringing sides, beverages, and that sort of thing. So
Watch your email for a Google form with all the information in terms of, so you can sign up for how many people are coming and what you'd like to bring.
Great. Okay. And so again, that's December 6th, and that's our last meeting. We typically don't go that following 2 weeks into December, just because it gets close to the holidays. So after that, everybody will enjoy their time, and we'll be back in early January with our 2024 meetings and presentations and competitions. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over. I know Jane Richards is going to be running the competition tonight, so she's got all of the images in the various categories. For those who just joined recently, there's a
QR code again.
QR code that's out there on the meeting chat.
It's in the chat.
Yeah, so be sure and pull that up. And again, for scoring, this is for the member scoring. Each of the members scores the images as they come up. Jane will be going through these images. First round will be when the members vote. So they'll just be up for a few, 5-6 seconds or whatever per image. Vote from a score of, I believe it's 5 to 10. Turn your phone sideways, makes it easy to see all those numbers. We'll go through those. And then once we're complete with the member voting, then we'll go back to them, and Darren will provide critique comments and judge scores to each of those images. So with that, Jane, I'll go ahead and turn it. I believe you'll probably share your screen there.
Okay, the first image is called Bandon Sunset. Before the tourists arrive. Buoy crazy. Camouflage. Chasing the light. I don't know if I'm going to say this right. It's called Chilcha Bomb.
So sorry about that. So somebody just had a message in the chat that they can't see the entire image. It looks like it's chopped a little bit on the screen.
Oh, I see the people on the side. Sorry. Hang with me.
How do I do I get rid of it?
No, it's me.
Hold on a second.
Is it there now?
Now it's gone.
It looks like the top and bottom are slightly chopped off. I can't tell how much is missing, but
You had it there for a second just before you popped the full screen.
I'll continue.
I think if you hit Alt Enter, it will display correctly.
That's it right there.
You hit Command or there you go. Oh, no, just before.
It's so small.
If you hit Command or Control and then the plus symbol, what would happen?
It gets it. How about right there?
Right there.
If you go upper left on your screen, you can hit fill 100% or what. That's great right there.
Yeah, I say we stick with right there and move forward. I think we're good.
Okay. Here we
That's full
go.
screen there. Okay.
Okay, this one is called Cool Quiet Night. Fall morning on Lake of Bays. This is called Fall Starkness.
Is this false darkness?
Yes. This is Gulch Foam 1.
and that one's showing really small on my
I
screen. don't
know, I know.
Okay.
I'll try to get it bigger. Lobster boats. Low tide. Northern Boardwalk. Rest stop.
Hey, Jane, can you hear me?
Yes.
So it's better for me if you leave them smaller because I feel like I'm not seeing the bottom of some of them because I have a white strip on the top of my screen and I have nothing on the bottom. Like I feel like, so if we could make them smaller, that like right there, that's going to be better for me to judge.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, sunrise on the beach. Sunset on Lake Superior. There we go. The Green Lantern. Watchful Eye. Wyoming Ranch.
I see that there's a row 20 on there.
Ignore that.
Just put you're gonna have to put something in there, so put a 5 in there for me, please.
What was that again, Bruce? So
There's
row
not-
20, there's not an image for row 20? Do we just
No,
like,
there's not an image for row 20, I didn't see.
so maybe just put like 5 in, everybody enter 5 or something? Below
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm gonna check the other one real quick and see if they're all, that's the only one where we had an extra. So we're good. Okay, my fault, didn't check the sheet.
Okay, we're going to go to advanced digital color. This one's called Autumn Sunset in the San Juans. Blue Hour. Blue Ice. Rice Winter Sunset. Cabin in Fall. Cold Duck. Don't Pet the Fluffy Cows. Fall River. Fog Settling in the Valley. Garden of Snow. Milky Way from Chimney Rock Trail. My, what big claws you have. Excuse me, Pooter Flow. Proud Mother and Daughter. Raining Rhinestones. Reflections. Trying to get it smaller there. There we go. Excuse me. Seasonal change. I don't know. storm pass. Sorry about this, guys. This is crazy.
It's the
Sunflower Sunset Spectacular. Sunset. Okay. We're going to go to digital monochrome beginner intermediate. Against the Storm. Amazonia. Art begins with structure. Booth Bay Harbor. Coquille River Lighthouse Drama. Hope I'm saying that right. Foggy Morning on Sandy Beach.
No, this is Foggy Main Lighthouse.
Oh, I'm sorry, Foggy Main Lighthouse. Okay, now we have Foggy Morning on Sandy Beach. Jagger. Making a Splash. River Foam. Topsy Turvy. Urban Fog. Venice, A Window into the Past. Weathering the Waves. Okay, now we'll go to Advanced Monochrome. Dos Zebras.
This one's just do it once.
Okay.
It's
That's perfect.
Okay. Dose of Winter's Frosting. Early Morning Fog. Fairy Tale. I Think the Road is This Way. Ingrained. Nature's drama. Night drive. Peekaboo Mountain. Oh, darn. Peggy's Cove. Rise Above.
Right, there you go.
I'm sorry, what?
It's okay. I was just gonna ask you to make it smaller so I could see the bottom, but you already did. Thank you.
There's a lag when she does her adjustment, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Snowy Windmill. Some days are up and some are down. The end. It just doesn't. Okay. The portal. Hope you can see that okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Tunnel vision.
That's it. You should be able to hit your submit button.
Yeah, all the way down at the bottom. It's the green button for those who haven't done this before. But yeah, it should allow you to hit submit everything once you hit that green button at the bottom.
Okay, Darren, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Darren, this is the first one, Bandon Sunset.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing before I start the judging. Because I know a lot of you personally, and I've known a lot of you for many years. I am a very picky when it comes to images, and I see things that other people probably would never see on your images. So please take what I say gracefully. I'm not going to be harsh, but I am going to be picky because my goal as not only an instructor but as a fellow photographer is to help others succeed as well. So, and I hope that my comments tonight help with that. So with that, I'm going to give this image a 7. I like the colors. I like the balanced reflection from the sky to the wet sand. I love the wave hitting the rock. That's gorgeous. I feel like the rock is slightly too bright. Now, just bear with me because I'm only seeing what I see on my screen. But I feel like the rock is just a little bit too bright. And I would like there to be a little bit more room on the edges. You have both rocks right up to the edge, and I'd like to see a little bit more room. Give that some breathing space. So I give this one a 7.
Before the tourists arrive.
This is beautiful. I love how both women are looking in the same direction, like they're looking towards each other, but the maker did not cut the woman inside off. I could easily see how that could happen if he or she would have been just slightly more to the right. It's vibrant. The colors are rich. It tells a story. I don't have a lot to say about this one except the reflection in the window, but I also understand that there's not much you could probably do about that. So I'm going to give this one a 9.
Ooh, crazy.
This is a great shot. I look for this kind of stuff whenever I go out to the beach or to a new place and that's on the coast. And it's rare that I ever find something like this. This is great. I personally am not a fan of the framing, but I'm not going to take that into account when I give the scores. The one thing on this image that I would make a suggestion is you have part of the N of the open sign cut off. And I don't know if that's because of the gray framing or not. I'm not sure if it overlapped onto the image. But again, you gotta, I feel like there needs to be space on the edges. You gotta allow the image to breathe. Now, if you cut that off, if you completely eliminated the open sign and just focused on the buoys themselves, and that might be a little bit different. But no, this is a really cool image. I'd love to see this printed large. I could definitely see this hanging in a beach house somewhere. So I'm going to give it an 8.
Camouflage.
Camouflage. Yeah, the bark and the feathers definitely match with a little bit of red on the head. I feel like the image has been enlarged quite a bit or cropped quite a bit. I see some blurriness on the feathers on the top of the head. The image comes through to me as very, very bright. I feel like the exposure could have been toned down. It's hard to say if the maker did it that way on purpose or if that's how it came out and then they titled it the way that they did. I like the idea of the image, but the bright spot on the upper right just draws my attention away from the bird itself. I'm going to give this one a 6.
Chasing the light.
This is great. I really like this. A couple of things. I think the birds are great. I'm guessing that's a car driving down a road. I like the idea of the dust or the sand blowing up behind it with the light backlighting it. To me, it doesn't look level. I'm not 100% sure if I'm seeing that right or not. But no, this is a great image. I'm going to give it an 8.
Chilcha bomb.
Okay, so when you guys were trying to figure out the sizing, I was thinking that was causing the blotching. Unfortunately, the maker of this one, I'm not sure what they did to the sky, but in my opinion, it looks like a very, very poor masking job or blending or something. There's blotches in the sky, there's blurry spots, there's the parts of the mountains are missing. So unfortunately, this one's going to get a 5. Now, however, if the maker were to eliminate the sky and zoom in tighter on the waterfall or the glacier area, there's kind of in the center, there's 2 waterfalls. There's a little one up top and then it flows into a bigger one. And in my opinion, that could be the scene itself when standing at this viewpoint. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to the sky, and so I can't score it any higher than a 5. I'm sorry.
Cool, quiet night.
Okay, so this is absolutely stunning, and when I first saw it, I was like, "Wow, that's amazing." Unfortunately, the maker forgot to clean off the dust bunnies, and I see probably 10 or 12 dust bunnies on this image that unfortunately are going to bring it from a 10 down to a 9. And I know I've already scored a 9, but yeah. And the reason I do that is because if somebody were to want to buy this image and the maker didn't know that the dust bunnies were on there and they sold it to them, the person would see it and probably send it back or not be happy with it. So one thing that I always try to mention to people is that before you submit your images, please go through, clean up any dust bunnies, anything that may be distracting, that's small, that's not going to take away from the main subjects of the image. So This is absolutely stunning. You know, clean up the dust bunnies, put it back into another competition, and I'm sure it'll get a 10. But today it gets a 9.
Fall morning on Lake of Bays.
Great idea. I love the fog in both the foreground and behind the trees. In that second layer there, that's gorgeous. It's not looking like it's in focus to me. It looks like it's out of focus, not because of the fog, but just because the maker missed the focus. And I feel like the sky is extremely bright, and my attention, my eyes tend to go up to the sky. So I'm going to give this one a 6.
Fall starkness.
There we go. Okay, I couldn't see the bottom on the first go through. Yeah, beautiful. It's looks like it's tack sharp. You got good greens, you got good brights in the branches of the dead trees there. Um, it's a little bit chaotic. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like there's probably a better image inside this image if you were to isolate certain sections of it. But I like the clarity, the color, everything looks really good on this. I'm going to give it an 8.
Gulch foam.
Yeah, cool image. I like the what looks like to be a top down shot. Good shutter speed. I like the way that the water fans out on the bottom there, and the water is also a little bit coming in from the top. I like that you can see the details in the bubbles. I like the fall leaves on the rock. If I had to make a suggestion, it would be that dry rock that's up on the top right corner that looks like something's wet, but not all the way wet. So that kind of draws my attention to it. Yeah, I could see this actually being 2 separate images, but yeah, this is good. I like it. I'm going to give it an 8.
Lobster boats resting.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Yeah, it reminds me of my trip to Maine, and seeing scenes just like this. This is gorgeous. I don't really have anything to nitpick about this one. Um, the sky looks pretty good. If I had to say anything about it, I would probably bring the brightness of the water in the foreground just down a little bit. And I don't know if that's because the frame of the image is throwing my eyes off, but instead of my eyes flowing all the way to the back, I feel like it's keeping me right in the front where the white boat and the blue boat are. But yeah, this is gorgeous. I'm gonna give this a 9 too.
Low tide.
So this is I like the concept of this image, and this is something that I've tried to do before as well. Get a boat with no water and whatnot. It's kind of a fun image. It looks like there's some haloing going around the rocks on the one that's right above the boat. It looks like there's some halo on the right side of that. Looks like probably some noise reduction has been applied, and yeah, on the bigger rock too, there's a white spot that's right to the right of that. I think I'd like to see this as a pano image, maybe not so much sky. Bring the viewer's eye to compress it into the rocks, the boat, and the little bit of seaweed there. I'm going to give this a 7.
Northern boardwalk.
Yeah, this is a great image. I think I'll stick with my comment that I made at the last meeting about the boardwalk. I wish the boardwalk would be in the middle. However, I like the way that the boardwalk kind of leans to the left a little bit, and the ribbons of light are also kind of leaning to the left a little bit, and so it kind of mimics each other. I'd like to see. I feel like a stronger image would be with the right side cut off so that the ribbon of light is more towards the right-hand side, kind of make it a vertical, not so much a square. I really like this image. Can you zoom in just a little bit, Jane? A little bit more for me? Okay, and go down by the dock. Sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, this is nice. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Rest stop.
Yeah, this is a cool shot. I like how the bird looks like he's either taking a rest or he's praying or he's just kind of just taking a moment for himself. I like that. I like how there's some fluffies in the air. That doesn't bother me too much. The one thing that kind of gets my eye is that I don't know what those things are called that he's sitting on, but there's one on the far right hand side that's kind of directly across from him that's sticking into the scene. I would probably eliminate that, and I would probably crop this down a little bit to make it to more focus on the bird and the plant things that he's or she's sitting on. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Sunrise on the beach.
Yeah, this is a nice shot. I like how the colors are very subdued. They're not oversaturated. I like the reflection of the sand. It could be an optical illusion, but it looks like it's tilting to the left just a little bit. Um, my suggestion on this image would be to have the maker move up a little bit and eliminate that rock that's on the left-hand side. Generally, we don't like to have things sticking halfway into our frame, either include all of them or eliminate them. That's kind of a general rule, and my eye gets drawn to it. But I really like this image. I mean, it's one of my favorite locations, so how can I not like it? But and I would tone down the brightest spot of the cloud right above the rocks. Other than that, the rest of it looks really good. I do like the slight yellows. I like the blues, the warmer colors in the rocks. Everything looks good. Just a few minor suggestions, so I'm going to give this one an 8.
Sunset on Lake Superior.
So I definitely think that this is a nice image, and that the maker was definitely pointing their camera at the right spot. However, based on whatever challenges presented themselves, I can see that the image is tilted quite a bit to the right. There's many dust bunnies in the sky, and the shadow areas of the rocks in the foreground had to be brought up quite a bit. I'm guessing that they were probably black because I can see the noise in the rocks. This is one of the things that I'm going to discuss at my presentation on the 15th, is overcoming the limitations of our cameras to create better images. And an image like this is kind of a prime example. But with the noise, the dust bunnies, and the tilt on this one, I'm going to have to give it a 5.
The Green Lantern.
Yeah, so this is cool. I haven't seen this image before. So I like the peaks. I'm gonna guess it's in Norway or someplace. I'm not 100% sure. But what kind of caught my eye was that the red at the very bottom. And I'm not sure if that is like a hammock or a flag or something, but I like the red with the green. It complements rather nicely. The peaks pointing up to the clouds and the ribbons of light, and you got plenty of stars. Everything looks really good. My only real critique is that some of the wood is right at where the horizon would be on those rocks in the back, and so there's not a lot of separation there. And then I'm not sure what was lighting the wood, but it feels a little bit too bright to me. I see shadows on that tallest peak, on the lower third of the tallest peak. So I'm not sure if there were houses back there. I'm not sure if this is, I'm not, it's hard for me to say not knowing what was causing all that, but I do like the image. I think it's a great image. Um, just a few minor tweaks. I'm going to give it an 8.
Watchful eye.
Yeah, this is a cool shot. I really like this. It looks like there's been a lot of sharpening or something going on, and then if you look underneath the top bear, it looks like there's a smudge of something on the rock there, like they tried to heal out or clone out something and it didn't quite work. But I love the fact that the bears they're looking at each other like, what are they thinking about? Is it a friendly look, or are they gonna, is there a seal somewhere they're gonna kill each other for? I don't know, but I really like this, and I'm gonna give it a 9.
Wyoming Ranch.
Yeah, I love this picture. It's very simple. Blue skies, white clouds, the trees. It looks like it's probably close to the spring. It looks like they're starting to bud back out. I like the road winding down. Yeah, it's a great, I don't want to say a postcard shot. I mean, I would have stopped and took this picture myself. I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 9s.
9s, yeah. I can tell you guys which one it's going to be if you want.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
gotta pick it.
It's the one that's selected, number 2.
Okay.
The buoy crazy.
No,
No,
the one with the
before
one
the
with,
tourists arrive. Before the
Yeah.
tourists arrive.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's go to advanced color. Autumn sunset in the San Juans.
this is beautiful. So I'm gonna take a guess, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like this is a sky replacement, and the reason I say that is because there's no other pinks like that in the rest of the scene, and so the color tones and the color harmony doesn't flow over into the rest of the scene. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing on this. Aside from that, even if it is a sky replacement, it was put together well. Just one thing to keep in mind is to try to make sure that even if you're post-processing it, that the tonal qualities and the colors kind of blend into each other. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I kind of like the way that the trees taper off. They get greener on the left and then they get more yellow on the right. I like that. I'm going to give it a 9.
Blue hour.
I feel this is very monochromish, except for the sunset. There's a giant dust bunny on the far right hand side, just above that smallest peak on the left. That makes sense. There's 3 peaks, and the one on the left, if you look right above that, there's a giant dust bunny. I feel like the maker had to do a lot of work to bring out the detail in the foreground. Like, I'm feeling like it was fairly dark. And I feel like I'm seeing some halos on the left side where the pink clouds meet the blue rock. It's always hard to say without being standing where the maker was standing exactly what this looked like or what their vision was. But I feel like this is another one of those overcoming the limitations of your cameras. So I'm going to give this one a 7.
Blue ice.
Yeah, I like this shot. I've shot these before, and I can tell you that sometimes the ice moves, and so it's hard to get it sharp. And I can't tell if it's 100% sharp or not, but it looks pretty good based on what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing on my screen, I'm seeing bluish gray in the sky, and then I'm seeing it go from that to magenta down into the foreground. And I do see that there is some movement on that, the ice crystals right below the big blue ice. But I like the emotion that this image captures and shares with the viewer. I do see a few dust bunnies, things that can be cleaned up. And then that in the very, very, very top right-hand corner is a black area. I feel like that could be cloned out. But I know the challenges that this location presents, and it can be difficult to shoot. So I'm going to give this an 8.
Ice winter sunset.
Yeah, this is beautiful. The maker did a great job of capturing the sky and also keeping the colors in the foreground natural. I like that. If I had to make two critiques really. One is that I feel like the highlights in the sky are probably close to blown out or blown out where the yellowish part is. And then in the very bottom, you have 3 things sticking into the frame. And I feel like if I was standing here, I would like to see the largest triangle spire that's in the very bottom of the frame, maybe moved over just a little bit to the left where that dark spot of the canyon is, where it goes back. Excuse me. And then potentially eliminate the other 2. But no, this is a beautiful scene. It's well exposed. Yeah, I'm going to give this one a 9. I like it.
Cabin in fall.
Yeah, classic. I have John Denver songs singing in my head right now because I feel like this is a place that he probably would have played his guitar and did some singing and whatnot. I like it. It's a classic, it's a classic country scene. If I had to make some suggestions, if you look to the far right, there's 3 leaves. You can see there's one right at the very edge, and then there's 2 darker ones that are just right above each other and below each other there. I'd probably eliminate those. But yeah, this is a nice scene. I'll give this an 8. I like the different layers. You got the fence, the cabin, the trees, the rocks, the sky. There's a lot of layers, a lot of depth in this.
Okay. Cold duck.
Okay, so this one I'm going to give a 10 to. This is stunning. You have the maker used an aperture that was, I hope I'm not being fooled here, but the maker used an aperture that was wide enough to blur the foliage or the trees that they were shooting through, but yet they focused precisely on the duck. And you can even see that plane of focus where the water's falling, it looks like there's rain or snow is falling, even some of those are in focus. This is a really beautiful image, and it really caught my eye first time around. So I'm going to give this one a 10.
Don't pet the fluffy cows.
So this is a gorgeous image, and having been at this location many a times, I'm familiar with it. But the buffalo or the bison looks very unnatural to me, and in my mind, I want to think that it was shot during, obviously it was sunrise or sunset, and in my mind, I'm thinking that there was some type of light source to the left of the bison because I see shadows on its body, but on my screen it looks very bluish grayish, like it was probably black in the original image and then they brought the shadows up, or they put the buffalo in the shot and it wasn't originally there. It just doesn't look natural to me at all. I love the geyser and I love everything else about it, but the buffalo and it just seems out of place to me. So unfortunately, I'm going to give this one a 7.
Fall River.
Yeah, this is a very, very calming scene. There's a lot of places like this in Oregon that I've shot before, and I've just kind of stayed and sat in places like this for a while. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a very calming scene. I don't really have any critiques about it. I don't see anything that would that I could make a suggestion. I don't see any rapids. Maybe you have the trees arching over the river. You got the brighter part of the image back, so the viewer's eye goes from the foreground rocks to the back. You know, it's a beautiful shot. I wish there was a little bit more interest in the calm water and that's right in the foreground. I feel like that's a lot of open space, but I also understand why that's included there. So yeah, it's a great shot. I'm going to give it a 9.
Fog settling in valley.
Yeah, this is a beautiful.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it took me a while to see the little house down there. Well, it's probably not so little, but in this scene, great sense of scale. I love the layers. I love how it goes from colorful down to almost black and white. That's very interesting. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this. Can you zoom in one more notch, Jane?
I'll try.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, this is really nice. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Garden of Snow.
Okay, is this, oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, this is super nice, very iconic. You just basically need to be there the morning after a snowfall. People love these images. There's not much I can say about it based from the spot that it was shot from, because this is pretty much the shot that you get. I do like that it's a pano aspect, so it keeps the viewer's eyes on the subjects of the mountains and the red rocks, and the red rocks in the foreground are nicely placed. I would like to see just a little bit more room on either side, but that's not too important right here. It's hard for me to tell if the whiter whites are blown out or not. I'm gonna guess that they're not blown out. They do look bright on my screen, but no, it's a very, very classic Colorado image. I'm gonna give this one an 8.
Milky Way from Chimney Rock Trail.
Yeah, this is nice. This is a good example. Oh, there's a person in this image. I just now saw that. Huh. Okay. So yeah, this is a good example of, overcoming the limitations of your camera. You got a good foreground, you got a good sky. The color of the sky looks a little bit unnatural to me. And unfortunately, now that I'm looking at it, I see a lot of doubled up stars towards the horizon. And yeah, I see doubled up stars on the top too. So unfortunately, that's going to take the score down. And then one of the things that I like to see is, if you look at the tree that's on the far right, that bush or shrub or whatever, the rocks behind that are super bright. So that would need to be toned down, because that's a giveaway that it was shot during the daylight hours. And trust me, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to teach you guys how to do that in my meeting. But these are the little things that we look for to make scenes like this look more natural. And I'm not sure what caused the double up stars, but I see plenty of them. So I'm going to give this one a 7, just for those few little things. And I would, just real quick, I would probably make the person a little bit brighter, just him, just a tad bit brighter, because I didn't see him at first and now I see him. And I think he's a part of this, because he's in the scene enjoying the night sky. So I would make him just a tad bit brighter.
My, what big claws you have.
Yeah, I love this image. It caught my attention when I first saw it. It's an optical illusion because the lines in the back are not straight, except for the one that's at the lowest portion of his body. And so I feel like he's in a river, and then there's another river that's going away from the viewer. And so when I look at it like that, it makes sense. Man, this is tough because I want to give this one a 10. I've already given one 10. I know that. And I just think God, this is so good. I wish I knew how far away the photographer was. But so I'm going to give this one a 10 also, and then I'll look at them side by side. But the detail, the super fast shutter speed to capture the detail of the water droplets coming off of the paws, that's incredible. And whether it was luck or the maker knew how to do that, yeah, it's phenomenal. So this one gets a 10 too.
Food or flow?
Yeah, I like this image. It definitely got like a HDR look to it. It's very high contrast. It's got a lot of details. My only concern is if you start at the top left and you work your way down, it goes from being very sharp, and then you get some blur in, and it looks like if you look at the ridge line on the rock that's closest to us below the falls, it looks like there were two images that were overlapped and they didn't line up properly. And it looks like so that I'm seeing and yeah, that part of it doesn't look right to me. And then I'm seeing dust bunnies up in the top, uh, the very first cascade in the top left. I'm also seeing some spots where it looks like the HDR didn't work. I can't point them out to you, but it's definitely not on my screen. So I love the composition. I'd like to see this reshot with a little bit more natural take on it. But I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Proud mother and daughter.
Yeah, it's beautiful, very pleasing. It's interesting that the details on the green around the one that's folded and sorry, I'm not a flower person, I don't know, but the yellow things that are in the middle of the other one, they're both in focus. So I'm assuming that they're on the exact same plane, or it was focus stacked, but the rest of the image is soft. Yeah, I like where the light is. I would, if I were to make a suggestion, there's a petal that has black on the big flower to the left. That one petal has a bad tip on it. And I would probably clean that up because it's hard for me to not see that. And I may go through and I may heal or clone out some of the other little tiny spots on some of those brighter petals in the foreground. This is a really nice image. I would strive to take an image like this. I like the light. It has kind of a painterly feel to it. So I'm going to give this one a 9.
Raining rhinestones.
Okay, so this is a great capture. Unfortunately, there's two things. The maker, the one great thing about this is I don't know what all those things flying in the sky are. I'm guessing they're raindrops, but they look awfully big. So I'm not sure what they are, but I do like them. My two issues with this image are you have the beak cut off from the one duck by the tail of the other one. And it just looks to me like there was just an excessive amount of noise reduction applied. It looks more like a painting than a photograph to me. if I stand way back and I look at it, then I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But the fact that I'm looking at it close, I feel that that would translate into a painterly feel in a print as well. So I'm going to give this one a 7.
Reflections.
So this is like a grand, majestic scene. I'd love to be standing right here. It's beautiful. A couple of things. The sky has an excessive amount of noise in it. And if you look, there's a black strip that goes, it's just off to the right of the peak of the center peak. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's like a black, it's almost about like an inch wide. It's this big black strip, and I'm not sure what's causing that. And it looks like there's a few dust bunnies up in there as well. I love the subtle colors of this. I like the fact that nothing's like super saturated. I like that it's very natural. I like that the reflection is almost a mirror image. There's a bush on the right hand side that's sticking halfway into the frame that's drawing my attention away from that. I think this image has a lot of potential. It just needs a little bit of work. So I'm going to give it a 7.
Seasonal change.
All right, this is a beautiful scene. I love the curvature of the valley where the trees are. That's pretty cool. I'm guessing that this was with it's hard for me to say if it was with a fisheye lens or what, because the tree on the far right is like leaning into the frame. And I know that's generally not how they grow, but it could be. But nonetheless, this is a nice image. I like the backlight of the trees with the mountains. It's got good clouds. Again, though, this is one of those cases where shooting techniques to overcome the limitations of your camera will come into play. The sky where the sun is being blown out just takes away from the image because my eye just goes directly there, and it doesn't let me enjoy the wonderful tones that you have captured in the foreground because my eye is just going right to that spot. If you could, if there was a way to compose it to where you just got the mountains and the trees, that might be an option as well. But because the sky in that one spot is blown out, I'm going to give this one a 7.
Storm pass.
Yeah, this is really nice. I don't really have a lot to say about it, except for the bottom left corner or the bottom right corner. Just it kind of feels empty. I love the left side of the creek, and I'm thinking that if the maker could have got over there and shot back to the right a little bit and eliminate that empty space there in the corner, I think that could have made the image a little bit stronger. But I love the clouds. I love the light on the tips of the brush there. It's a nice shot. I'm going to give this one an 8.
Sunflower sunset spectacular.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I love the sharpness of the sun rays. Again, though, with the sky, right there where the sun is, it's so bright. It's completely blown out. That makes it hard for me to give it a 10. And then you have the one sunflower on the far right towards the bottom that's cut off. About a quarter of it's cut off there. But this is a really nice image. I feel like I'd like to see this image with a little bit more natural processing and with maybe a couple different exposures to blend in where the sun is. Still a beautiful image, but I'm going to give it an 8.
Sunset.
Yeah, look at that sky. Great composition with the sun setting way down in the bottom, but yet you got this massive sky with the sea stacks. Looks like there's a person there having a fire on the beach. You got a few people walking. I really like this. I wish there wasn't so much darkness to it. I feel like this is an image that could really benefit from maybe another exposure to brighten up these dark areas. Trust me, I get it. I know I know it gets dark when the sun goes down. I understand that. In my mind, I want to see a little bit more detail. I want to see, because you have detail all through the image until you get to that far right hand side, and then where the land part is, you lose all the detail. But no, the sky is incredible, and whoever the maker is, like, not to joke around or anything, but I would definitely save this as an image to put in with another image if you ever wanted to do sky replacement, because this is a wonderful sky. There are some dust bunnies in the sky. I see that. So I'd take those out. But yeah, this is nice. I'll give it a 7.
Okay, we have the 2 10s.
All right, let's see.
Okay, cold duck and big claws there.
12, so 6 and 12.
Mm.
And hit C.
Hit what?
C for compare.
Whoops. Oh boy, how do I do?
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, so these are both exceptional images that should be showcased somewhere. The duck image, beautiful framing. Love the framing. Love the colors, the subtle colors, the ripples in the water. Whoever shot this just absolutely nailed the focus. And on my screen, it looks, I mean, the duck looks fake, but I know it's not. So, amazing job. The bear, the eyes, like, he's looking at you like, I'm gonna come and kill you because you got my salmon. And God, I hate this, but I'm gonna give it to the bear for this reason. Just because there's a fear factor involved. I'm not so scared of the duck, even though the duck is damn near a perfect image. But the fact that the photographer was able to concentrate on their camera settings enough to get the image as sharp as it is, I just feel like there's a little bit more involved in a successful image of the bear than there was with the duck. So nothing against the duck, but I'm going to give it to the bear.
Beginner intermediate monotone. This is called Against the Storm.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, cool rock formations. I really like this. I wish there would have been a little bit more detail in the sky. I like the tonality and the rocks in the water. Again, the rock on the far left side it's going out of the frame. It's touching a little bit there. I wish there would have been a little bit more left on that side. And if you look at the rock that the maker's standing on, if you look at the top of it, you can see a halo that goes all the way around it. And so those are the things that we really want to be careful for. If the maker would like to get in touch with me, I can tell you how to remove that in about 3 seconds. So those are like the really nitpicky things that I look for when I'm looking at images like this. I love the shutter speed of the water here. I love the fact that it's kind of going around that center rock. It's definitely a cool composition. I just think there's a few little things minor tweaks that could help improve it. But I'm going to give this a 7.
Amazonia.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been to the Amazon, but so I feel like the trees in the foreground directly in front of me are a little bit bright. I'm not exactly sure what the subject of this is, other than a few of the branches arching over the waterway with the reflection. I feel like there's probably a great image within this image, but it's not the whole image. It looks like there's a chair or some junk that's to the left of the bright tree in the foreground on the other side of the bank. It looks like there might be a burn barrel back in there. So for me, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be looking at here. I feel like
Yeah, real quick, there's a question that came to me earlier as to if this one fits in the monochrome category.
Yeah.
Oh no.
There's too much green.
No. not in my
I don't know
opinion.
if it was mistakenly put in there or what, but I didn't catch it on when it went through on the first round, but there was something that came to me through the chat, and when I look at it, there's I don't know if it's one that needs to be disqualified from that category. Maybe it was just misentered or something like that. But there's a lot of different colors in there that it doesn't have that.
Yeah.
I feel is monochrome.
Well, I'll just say this real fast. I think whoever the maker is, there's a lot of good images within this image. I see a lot of detail and stuff in and around where you were shooting. So try to maybe just isolate your subject a little bit more. So yeah, we can do whatever you guys want with this.
Just give it a score, I guess.
All right, 6.
6, okay. Art begins with structure.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love this. Okay, so there are four white spots, 2 on the left side of the brightest building and 2 that are directly above the top of the brightest building. It looks like there's actually 5. I'm not sure what the white spots are. But anyway, I would just go through and just heal those out. And then there's more white spots. Okay. And then you have to leave just a little bit more room on the left hand or on the right hand side there. Just you got to give that point a little bit of breath. Just let it breathe, let the image breathe so that it doesn't take the viewer's eye all the way out. You want the viewer's eye to follow these great shapes and kind of keep going through there without going out. And I know that you left a little bit of space, but there needs to be just a little bit more. But this is a really cool image. I love the tonality of it. I love the detail. I'm going to give this one an 8.
Booth Bay Harbor.
Yeah, like this looks like one of those vintage postcards. It's kind of hard to tell what year it was taken because there's only one vehicle in the image, and that looks like an older vehicle, so it's hard to tell. Anyway, nonetheless, so the sky, I love the tonality of it. I love the composition. I love the pano feel. It really keeps your eye focused right on the harbor, the bay, whatever, the houses. Obviously, the sky is bright, so if it would have been any more, it would have taken your eye directly out of the scene. But it looks like this image had an excessive amount of noise. I'm looking in the sky, and there's some dust bunnies in the sky on the right-hand side, directly above the bright white house, right at the edge of the frame there. So yeah, those need to be cleaned up. But yeah, classic vintage looking postcard style photo. I'm going to give this one an 8.
Coquille River Lighthouse Drama.
Okay, so I like the dramatic sky. It's a good subject, obviously. I think that the maker should probably tone down the water in the foreground. That little triangle of water, it looks overly bright to me. And it looks like the sky was edited separately from the rest of the scene, because I'm seeing on the left-hand side where the rocks meet the sky, I'm seeing some haloing right in that area, and then I'm seeing some haloing around the tower of the lighthouse as well. Just a few minor tweaks to bring it into a little bit more natural state, I feel would benefit the image. And it's hard to say, when I've been working on a lot of black and whites myself, and so it's hard for me to say like how this was converted. But I feel like if you could bring out some of the lighter areas of the darker rocks in the foreground, right here in the right hand corner, just to give that a little bit more punch isn't the right word, but some contrast. Like they all look dark, and I know they are dark, but I've stood in this spot, and I know that the lighter ones could be a little bit brighter, and then the darker ones, there'd be a little bit more contrast there. But overall, I like the image. I like the almost infraredish look that the lighthouse has. Whoever whoever shot this did a good job of cleaning up the base of the lighthouse, because I know how horrible that looks, and I know I spend a little bit of time cleaning that up too. But yeah, this is a nice image. Just a few minor tweaks. I'm going to give it a 7.
Foggy Main Lighthouse.
Okay. It's high key, obviously. I'm hoping that that's what the maker went with, not by accident. The blue doesn't do anything for me on the framing, but again, I'm not using that to judge. Is this at 100%, Jane?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks to me, it looks like it's in focus, but it looks like it's been enlarged a little bit. It's hard to tell. It doesn't look crisp and sharp, and maybe that's not what they were trying to do. I don't, just kind of looking, I don't see anything that specifically looks like a dust bunny. I see one thing that potentially could be, but it's hard for me to say if it is or not. But I'm going to give this one an 8. I wish I knew more about the image. It's hard for me to tell. These types of images are really hard to guess on. So this one gets an 8. It's a nice image. I like it. I like the lighthouse, obviously. I like the fog. I like the framing, the composition. So yeah, this one gets an 8.
Foggy Morning on Sandy Beach.
Okay, so when I first saw this image, I was looking for the sandy beach, but I don't see a sandy beach. Nonetheless, I like the fog. I like the trees. It looks like there's a little bit of a pathway there. That might be the beach. It's very dark. It's very moody. I'm going to give this one a 7.
Jagger.
Yeah, this is a really cool shot. Yeah, I love how he is in complete blackness, and then there's the lights above kind of add a little bit of ambiance to the scene. It's interesting. I don't know a lot about this type of photography. I know that I like that the maker used, excuse me, that the maker used what I'll call good negative space to put the singer in, and there's nothing distracting from the singer in the space that he's in. So I like that. It looks like it was shot on film, I'm guessing. It's very grainy. It kind of has an old look to it. I like that.
Making a Splash.
Going from that other one to this one is quite a difference. This one's very calming and pleasing, and the other one I was like, felt like I was at a concert. Yeah, so you got the two birds on the rock up there. Got the splash. It looks like it's tilted a little bit to the right, tilted down to the right a little bit. Could be my eyes, but that's what it looks like. I think I really like the image. I mean, let me just say that. I like the image. I like the shutter speed. I like the composition. I like the fact that the birds are up there. I'm going to guess that this was shot on a completely overcast day, because I know this location. I know that it's overcast there a lot. But I like what you did with the foreground. I like whoever shot this. I love the foreground. I love the motion of the water with the splash. That's great. I would like to see this with a little bit more contrast, though. I feel like we're losing some detail in the water to the left of the splash. There are there's a couple little dust bunnies that I would clean up a little bit. I feel like this image has a lot of potential. It's just too bright for me. So I'm going to give this one a 7.
River Foam.
Well, there's definitely a lot of detail in it. The maker used a fast shutter speed. They captured a lot of the detail, the ripples in the water, the rocks. I'm not sure what the triangle thing is on the left-hand side. I don't know if it's part of a fountain or or what, but I definitely see a lot of interesting images within this image. I'm not sure if it works as a whole because there's so much to look at that I'm not sure there's one single identifiable subject. And then again, on the left-hand side, we have something that's sticking halfway into the frame and halfway out of the frame. There's some interesting dark spots on the very far left or to the very far right in the foam there that don't look like they belong. I do like the tones of the image. I like the grays, the blacks, the whites where the water's cascading. I like that they kept the detail in that part. I'm going to give this one a 7. I feel like there's a really good image within this image, though.
Topsy-turvy.
Yeah, so this is a 10. This is exactly what a reflection image should look like. And when I say exactly, I mean exactly. The sky is about a half to 2/3 brighter than the foreground, than the reflection. And that is naturally how your camera captures it. Water absorbs light. If you ever see a reflection that is brighter than the sky, the maker has done something wrong with the editing. It's perfectly balanced. It's just, this is a very calming scene. I feel like I could look at this all day. This is very well done. This is a 10.
Urban fog.
Okay, so this is interesting because I don't feel that the fog is causing the blurriness. I feel like there's fog there, but I feel like the blurriness is being caused by some type of a tilt shift or a blur in post-processing because I'm getting that miniature feel. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. I feel like I'm looking at a small town type of thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do see excessive noise in the sky that I don't necessarily see in the foreground, and that could just be because there's less detail up there. I like the concept of this image. I wish there was more on the bottom or less on the top and more on the bottom because I feel like the city itself, I see the skyline, but I feel like the rest of the image is being cut off. So I'm going to give this one a 7.
Venice, a window into the past.
This is very interesting. And I say that in a good way. I definitely love the idea of what the maker was going for here. I can definitely see what they were seeing. I'm just not sure if the black right down the center is the best option for this. I definitely see, I love, so the top of the one building that's perfectly framed just to the left of the black strip, like I love that, and like I could see that as one image. The fact that there's a black strip on the left side but there's not a black strip on the right side, I feel like it's just not balanced. But from an artsy point of view, I really like it. Like I see a lot of potential. I would probably, I don't know if those are birds in the sky or whatnot, but anything that was on the glass, that was a spot on the glass, I would clean that off just so it doesn't distract from the viewer as they're looking through this. Yeah, I mean, I could see this as an exceptional image, or I can see it as a not so great image, but I definitely see the potential. So I'm going to give this a 7.
Weathering the waves.
Yeah, this is beautiful. The framing is great. It's balanced. The maker didn't cut the rock off in the foreground. And even though they cut the rocks off on the two center largest rocks, it's okay because it balances the image and they have something in the center. If they would have moved to the left or the right and cut the rock off that's directly in front of me, I would have had more issues with this. The shutter speed is nice. I like the fact that there's a little bit of darker sky at the top that helps keep my eye in the frame, and it helps keep it balances the dark sand at the very bottom. There's a lot of detail in this. Again, I do see some dust bunnies that need to be cleaned up. But I could definitely see this as a large print. I really like it. I'm going to give it a 9.
Advanced monochrome, Dos Zebras.
Okay, so there's going to be a lot of high scores in this one. I can honestly say that I've never photographed a zebra, and I'm guessing that can you enlarge it a little bit, Jane? There's just one thing I want to see. Okay, so okay, that's fine. You can go back down. So this is a great image. In my mind, the white stripes that I see in the eye of the zebra on the right make me think that it's the reflection of the zebra on the left. But when I look closer, it looks like it's his or her eyelashes, I'm guessing. But nonetheless, that whatever happened there, that's kind of a cool thing. And I really like that. The blacks are black, the whites are white. You got beautiful gray tones in the background. Um, the heads are tilted perfectly. I don't have anything bad to say about this. This is a 9.
Dose of winter's frosting.
Okay, so this is a stunning image, and it definitely caught my eye. This is going to get a 9 too. It is extremely sharp. It almost looks HDR sharp, but it doesn't have the HDR feel to me. The one thing that I'm seeing that I am knocking it down is that the fence is in the bottom left corner, and that distracts from the overall scene. If you could shoot this scene, maybe lean over the fence a little bit more, tip the camera vertical to eliminate that fence, I'd give this one a 10. But that fence, I just love the sharpness of the image, but the fence just takes it away for me. So this one gets a 9 too.
Early morning fog.
So I really like this. It's very, very, very moody. I feel like I just woke up, and I almost feel like it's like there's a little bit of light from the midnight sun, or like someplace where there's it doesn't get dark very often, and this is just like that little bit of light. I like the tonality. I'm not sure if the excessive grain and noise was something that the maker added, or if that's how their camera shot it. It looks like this has been processed with like an analog process, or maybe it was even shot on film. It's hard to tell. I like the moodiness of it. If I have to be super nitpicky about things being in or out of the frame, the windows on the right hand side of the very right hand side, I'd like to see them either all in the frame or not in the frame. I'm just not a fan of having things cut off like that. So I'm going to give this one an 8. It's a cool shot. I could definitely see it in an art museum somewhere.
Fairy tale.
Yeah, so I'd love to go here. Had my eye on this spot for a while. There's a lot of things I like about this image. I love the capture and the richness of the land in the foreground and the water in the foreground. The background feels excessively bright and unbalanced to me. And in the very top corners, on the right hand side and over on the left hand side, it looks like there's some super dark areas, and I'm not sure if that's from the vignetting or what that's from, but it doesn't look natural to me compared to the rest of the scene. And I think I would prefer to have no mountain in the scene rather than to have the mountain cut off. So I love half of the image. The other half of the image I'm not too fond of. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 7. But 7.
Are you okay?
Yeah, yeah, I just yeah, the image just doesn't look right, so I'm confused on it, but that's okay. Because like one part looks like it's been processed totally different than the other part. And it's throwing me off. So, but I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay. I think the road is this way.
Yeah, this is tough. It looks like a pencil drawing. And I'll say that as a compliment, not as something that's negative. Yeah, this is tough. I don't have anything bad to say about this image. I'm gonna give this one a 10 and we'll sort it out at the end.
Ingrained.
Great. So in the meeting that we had recently with, I'm not sure who the presenter was, but they talked about tonality and how black and whites kind of blend together. And I feel like this is one of the scenes. Like if you look at the roof, in some places it's hard to tell where the roof and the trees meet because they're the same tonality. I definitely see what the maker was going for here. I mean, I love the old building and the old truck or car. I just feel like there may be a better angle, or there may be slightly different processing to help separate the elements for more depth. Um, I'd like to see not as much grain in the sky, and it looks like if you look at the trees that are directly above on the back side of the cabin, you can see where the tops of them are super dark, and there's almost a definitive line where they go from dark to light. So that tells me that there was something with the processing, um, something done there where they darkened part of the sky, but not, or a portion of the image and not the rest of it. Um, I like the concept. I like the subject matter. This is the kind of stuff that I would like to shoot. Um, I'm going to give it a 7.
Nature's drama.
Yeah, I like this. It kind of threw me off at first when I first saw it because the foreground sand being so bright and then the background being so dark. But um, as I thought about it a little bit more, you know, if there are dark clouds or darker skies, and the light source is more in front. I've seen scenes like this before. They don't occur very often, but also it could be the processing. I'm also seeing a very large, darker circle around the very top of the white dune. And that's kind of throwing me off a little bit, like maybe um, it was something with the darkening of the processing. I like the composition. I like how the dunes. I like the detail in the dunes in the foreground a lot. It reminds me of this one Icelandic waterfall. Um, but that black spot above the top of the dune is kind of throwing me off. I don't see any dust bunnies on this one, which is good. There may be one in the very top right corner, but it's hard to tell. But anyway, I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Night drive.
Okay. So I like the clouds coming over the mountains. I like the road leading into the scene. Um, I personally am not a big fan of having the satellites in the skies. I generally will remove those, but that's just my own personal preference. The sky looks excessively noisy compared to the foreground, so I'm not sure if there was noise reduction applied to the foreground and not to the sky. It's hard to say. I like the Milky Way coming up through the clouds, though. That's awesome, and I like the way that the clouds separate the foreground from the sky. It's just an extra layer of depth and dimension to the image. I'm not used to looking at Milky Way images in black and white, so this is kind of good for me. I don't feel like the Milky Way is blown out. It's fairly bright there in the core, but I don't feel like it's blown out. I like this concept. I like the black and white concept. I'm gonna give this one I'm gonna give it a 7. I'd like to see the satellites gone, and I'd like to see less noise in the sky.
Peekaboo Mountain.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Very clean, very crisp. With one giant dust bunny just to the right of the tallest tree on the left. I think it's a dust bunny. It might not be a dust bunny, but it looks like one. My eye says it is, but it's possibly not. But anyway, nonetheless, great tonality. I love the cyanotype processing here. I get kind of chilly just looking at this, the fog, encapsulating the mountain. These types of scenes are really hard to do and not get halos around the trees, but the maker did a very good job in keeping that to a minimum. I see a little tiny bit, but not much at all. This is a beautiful scene. I'm going to give it a 9.
Peggy's Cove.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Peggy's Cove. Yeah, this is a very, I feel like this is a very 1970s scene. It's very, very basic, there's not much going on here, but yet it's enough to tell a story. You got the houses and the docks, and you got the rocks. So this is an example of where the rocks on the left-hand side can actually work with the image, because this tells me that there's some type of a channel right here that's going between the little houses and out into the bay or the ocean. So this tells me that there's some type of a channel here. I know that may not seem consistent with what I've said previously, but in this image, it actually works more to the advantage of the image. I'm kind of covering it up just to see, but I like how simple this image is. I like how it's not complicated. I can look at it and I know exactly what I'm looking at. If I had to make a suggestion, I would probably crop the sky down a little bit more and make it a little bit more of a pano. But even in this image, look at the foreground. The foreground water is darker than the sky, which is good, because a lot of people would be tempted with an image like this to brighten the foreground water and darken the sky. But I can tell that this was done in a more natural sense. So I'm going to give this one a 9. I really like it. I think it's a very simple image. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9 just for the simplicity of it.
Rise Above. Let's see if there we go.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I love I don't know if it's infrared or not, but it looks like it's infrared. There's just, this kind of reminds me of an Ansel Adams print, just because there's so much detail on the face of the rock. I do feel like there's a little, I don't know if it's clouds or if it's actually a little bit of haloing on the top left of the top peaks up there. I do like how the clouds on the right are coming out from behind it. I love the tree in the foreground. I may try to bring that out just a little bit more so that it doesn't get kind of get combined with the face, because there's a lot of detail in the face of the rock, and then you got the trees. I can see it because I know what I'm looking at, but somebody else might not be able to. But no, it's a beautiful image. I'm going to give this one a 9 also.
Snowy Windmill.
So this is a very cool concept. I'll say that. I do a lot of winter traveling through Wyoming, and I shoot scenes like this a lot, and they're tough to shoot, especially if you got snow blowing 100 miles an hour and you're trying to capture a windmill and all this stuff. I like the composition. I like how the maker put the windmill in the open space and kind of use the line of the trees in the background to kind of help frame that whole area. I like that. Um, on my screen, the image looks reddish magenta-y, and it just seems very unnatural. I think I'd like to see this more black and white or a little bit more cyanotype, just to give it that cooler feel. And again, I'm sorry if that's not what you saw on your screen, but that's unfortunately that's what I'm seeing on mine. Um, and I think I would crop down from the top a little bit and really put the emphasis on the space between the foreground shrubbery and the background shrubbery, and then the negative space with the snow in the middle with the windmill there. I don't feel like the image needs the sky up top, but it's a cool shot. I think just a few little tweaks will make it a little bit better, in my opinion. It looks like the windmill's sharp, so I like that. Um, but yeah, I know these scenes all too well. I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Some days are up and some are down.
This is fantastic. Yeah, so I love how sharp the buildings in the reflection are, and I'm guessing that this is a bubble, not a glass ball. It's a bubble. I know that these are hard to do. I've tried to do them. They break a lot. Um, the maker got this one before it froze, so that's kind of cool. I like that. Um, you know, I don't have a lot to critique about this because this is something that we just don't see a lot of, and so I can't say that one way is better than the other. The one things I can say are that, again, you've cropped the top off. I would like to see the entire bubble up there. And then there's some spots. I'm pointing to my screen, but I know you guys can't see that. There's some spots on the bubble, some black spots in the lower right-hand portion of the bubble that I'd like to see cloned out. And then maybe darken up the brightest part of the ice or the snow that it's on just a little bit, because you got such amazing rich detail in the image in the bubble, but then down here on the bottom left is super bright, and you got this nice dark sky. So maybe if you could make the lower left side equally as dark as you have the snow in the lower right side, it might just help to balance it out a little bit. But to whoever shot this, amazing job, and the timing was right. I'd love to see the image after this where it was frozen and it had the ice starting to grow up it. Those are pretty cool too. So I'm going to give this one an 8.
The end.
Yeah, this is a cool shot. I don't have a lot to go on as far as, their faces or anything, but if I had to make a suggestion, I probably would crop out the mud and the puddles on the left side, and maybe crop into just a little bit before the tail on the right side. I think they did a good job. They got all the ears and hairs in on the zebras that are the furthest away, and they did a good job of keeping the hooves and the feet in on the one that's the closest to us. It's a cool shot. I think if you cropped it in, it would make a hell of a puzzle. So I'm going to give it an 8.
Portal.
Yep, I can see it. This is a cool shot. I really like this shot. I like the depth. I like the fact that you got the 2 doors that are, they look to be dead center. You got the light going down. There's a lot to this that is really well done. I'm going to give this one a 9. I will say, and I know that you can't always do this, but if you could have, if the maker could have had like just one single person walking one way or the other, I think that would have, for me personally, I think that would have added to it. I love the empty space. I love the I love how you're just looking down this tube. I mean, this is a shot I would have taken myself. But I feel like just for scale and whatnot, I think if you could have just had one small person walking or something, or just something at the end of the tunnel to add just a little bit to it. But yeah, this is a beautiful shot. I give it a 9.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, this is the 10. This this is probably about as perfectly done as you could get. You got deep, rich tonality all the way through from the arch in the beginning, with the light and the shadows all the way to the very back. Um, the fact that there's detail in the shadow areas, and there's also good detail in the bright areas of those shadows on the ground, is that tells me that the maker knew what they were doing. They knew how to handle their camera. They knew the proper exposure, how to process it. There's just a lot of good things here, not only with the leading lines, but the capture, the composition. Um, I love how the arch is not cut off at the top. It's brought right to the top to completely keep the whole scene within the frame. This is the 10, but if I had to make, like, if this was my image, I would bring the bottom up just to the base of the column that's on the left side. But that's just being super nitpicky. This is a very well done image.
Okay, we have
210.
2 10s, all right?
Yeah. Pick a winner.
Okay, so this is tough. Without knowing the conditions of the birds, I feel like the maker could have shot the birds and then just processed it high key. With the tunnels, the tunnel vision image, I feel like the maker had more to think about in terms of proper capture, proper composition, proper lighting. Obviously, this had to be timed right to get the shadows like this. There's a place in Denver that I've been trying to get a shot like this for years, and I haven't been able to. You got just beautiful fading lines all the way through. This is, I feel like the image on the left, the tunnel vision, took a little bit more work to get done correctly. They're both absolutely gorgeous images. Everybody should be proud, whoever took them. But I'm going to give it to the tunnel vision.
Okay, we got a tiebreaker for one that we need to do beginner, intermediate, monochrome
Okay.
for an honorable mention. You
Okay.
need to just pick an honorable mention from these two.
Okay, so I'm going to give it to the one on the right. And I'm going to give it to the one on the right. The one on the left is tilted to the right, and I feel like it's just too bright in the middle wave area there to the left of the splash. I like the fact that there's more detail in the one on the right. There's more detail in the water with the shutter speed. But again, the one thing that this image has going against it is that halo around that rock. But I feel like overall, I feel like the image on the right is a hair better than the image on the left.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's our winners, and then since we still have some time, we'll run through everybody's here in a second. Well, all right. So first place in beginner, intermediate, digital color is Band and Sunset by Jane Richards. Second place is Cool Quiet Night by John Mumford. Third place is Watchful Eye by Carolyn Ryman. The Judges Award went to Before the Tourist Arrives, Kathy Bala. An honorable mention went to Northern Boardwalk, Carolyn Ryman. Advanced Digital Color, first place. Where did it go? Oh, sorry. First place and Judges Award went to Bruce Norman, My What Big Claws You Have. Second place was Milky Way from Chimney Rock Trail, John McCluskey. Third place was Autumn Sunset in San Juans by Terry Verbickus. An honorable mention was Michael Rhino, Cold Duck. Beginner Intermediate Digital Mono. First place was Weathering the Waves by Jane Richards. Second place and Judges Award was Bruce Ryman with Topsy Turvy. Third place was Coquille River Lighthouse Drama with by Jane Richards. An honorable mention was Against the Storm, Bruce Ryman. Advanced Digital Mono. First place in Judges Award was Tunnel Vision, Dave Purcell. Second place, I Think the Road is This Way by Carino Zaragoza. Third place, Rise Above, Michael Rhino. An honorable mention, Dose of Winter's Frosting, Terry Fabricus. And then if you want to run through them.
Okay.
If everybody wants to go through them and see who's who's?
Sure. Yeah, since we're not getting kicked out by the police over at the Civic Center, we have time to do this. So let's do it.
Jane Richards, Bandon Sunset. Kathy Bala, Before the Tourists Arrive. Olin Jones, Bowie Crazy. Jim Eston, Camouflage. Kathy Allen Shin, Chasing the Light. Jeff Scott, Chilchabaum. John Mumford, Cool Quiet Night. Scott Bourne, Fall Morning on Lake of Bays. Jane Richards, Fall Starkness. Jeff Scott, Gulch Foam 1. Olin Jones, Lobster Boats Resting. Kathy Bala, Low Tide. Carolyn Ryman, Northern Boardwalk. Kathy Allen Shin, Rest Stop. Bruce Ryman, Sunrise on the Beach. Scott Bourne, Sunset on Lake Superior. John Mumford, The Green Lantern. Carolyn Ryman, Watchful Eye. Jim Eston, Wyoming Ranch. Terry Fabricus, Autumn Sunset in the San Juans. Tony Lazzari, Blue Hour. Bruce Norman, Blue Ice. Ben Evans, Bryce Winter Sunset. Ben Evans, Cabin in Fall. Michael Rhino, Cold Duck. Dave Purcell, Don't Pet the Fluffy Cows. John McCluskey, Fall River. Susan Langer, Fog Settling in Valley. Michael Rhino, Garden of Snow. John McCluskey, Milky Way from Chimney Rock Trail. Bruce Norman, My What Big Claws You Have. Tony Lazzari, Pooter Flow. Carino Zaragoza, Proud Mother and Daughter. Carino Zaragoza, Raining Rhinestones. Dave Purcell, Reflections. Jeff Woodard, Seasonal Change. Jeff Woodard, Storm Pass. Terry Fabricus, Sunflower Sunset Spectacular. Susan Langer, Sunset. Ryman, Against the Storm. Jeff Scott, Amazonia. Kathy Bala, Art Begins with Structure. Olin Jones, Booth Bay Harbor. Jane Richards, Coquille River Lighthouse Drama. Olin Jones, Foggy Main Lighthouse. Scott Bourne, Foggy Morning on Sandy Beach. Jim Eston, Jagger. Carolyn Ryman, Making a Splash. Jeff Scott, River Foam. Bruce Ryman, Topsy Turvy. Jim Eston, Urban Fog. Scott Bourne, Venice, A Window into the Past. Jane Richards, Weathering the Waves. Bruce Norman, Dos Zebras. Terry Vibricus, Dose of Winter's Frosting. Susan Langer, Early Morning Fog. Dave Purcell, Fairy Tale. Carino Zaragoza, I Think the Road is This Way. Tony Lazzari, Ingrained. Michael Rhino, Nature's Drama. Tony Lazzari, Night Drive. Terry Vibricus, Peekaboo Mountain. Susan Langer, Peggy's Cove. Michael Rhino, Rise Above. Jeff Woodard, Snowy Windmill. Carino Zaragoza, Some Days Are Up and Some Are Down. Bruce Norman, The End. Jeff Woodard, The Portal. Dave Purcell, Tunnel Vision.
All right, thanks everybody for hanging in, long night, and I will get this thing posted.
Hey, Bruce, I'll throw in a couple comments here real quick. And I wanted to send out a couple thank yous. One, thank you, Jane and Bruce, for filling in and doing a great job here tonight of running the competition. I know, having been on both sides of that's a lot of work that both of you did. So thank you for doing that. Also, thank you everybody for submitting images. Again, this is our last competition of the year, but it's fun to watch the progress and development of everybody throughout the year. And I thought, just as we went through all of these, and you can tell by the commentary from Darren and there's a lot of really good work that was submitted this evening. So thank you once again, and look forward to seeing a lot more images in 2024. And lastly, thank you, Darren, for great commentary and really appreciate all of the great feedback throughout, good details, good, again, we all learn from these kind of discussions and the feedback you provided. And I should have, when I sent out the email message about this upcoming competition and I should have warned everybody to be really careful about looking for those dust bunnies and clean up the skies and so forth and that. But you do such a great job of it. But I say that jokingly, but in seriousness, as you pointed out on a couple of those are the kind of things that if we're trying to sell images to others or whatever, all of a sudden they get those and they don't see that on the screen when they're ordering it, and they put it up on their wall and there's 5 or 6 dust bunnies or dust spots up on their image. You hear back about it and so you're just doing that for everybody else's protection. So really appreciate it. Also, I wanted to say that too, with some of Darren's comments tonight, great segue into the November 15th meeting. A couple times he mentioned tonight that there were some images that he commented on where he talked about the abilities to overcome our camera's limitations in and there were a couple of examples that tonight that he's going to be explaining 2 weeks from tonight, November 15th. So once again, thank you, Darren, for always great commentary and feedback.
You're welcome. Great images.
Thanks, Darren. Hey, Michael, do you still have something you want to, any mention on the PPC? There's still time because that's this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah. For those that also want to join us, we have a convention in Colorado Springs. Friday or Saturday and Sunday are the 2 main days in that. So if anybody's interested, we still have space available, and we have some really wonderful presentations, some portrait work, some landscape, wildlife presentations, and always a good time. Just some of the social events in that we have there. So thank you, Bruce, for letting me throw in a couple words on that.
No, we need it. All right. Anything from anybody else?
Hey, Bruce, I'm gonna send you an email in just a second. You can respond to it whenever you get it.
Okay,
Thanks.
very good.
And lastly, I wanted to throw out again, the last thing here too was the apology for, there was a little bit of a mix up tonight with us realizing late in the day that we didn't have the Civic Center reservations for tonight. But thank you everybody for accommodating the Zoom only event. And I know we missed a few people that weren't able to get back and forth, but we did record it. So hopefully for those that weren't able to make it live tonight on the Zoom event, they'll be able to catch it here with the recording.
All right. Good night, everybody. Hope you have a
Right.
good
Thanks, guys.
Good night.